So one of my students came up to me and asked me this question. It was an application of difference of squares. So let's look at the terminologies a little bit. Difference of squares. So here's an example. First of all, it's a binomial. There are two terms. It's a difference meaning there's a subtraction here. And these are two square values now. What do we do? Well, difference of always squares factors. Something plus and something minus. Now, what are the first terms? What times what is x squared? It's going to be x times x. What times what is 16? 4 times 4 is 16. It has to be the same thing, except one's a plus and one's a minus. These factors, excuse me, have a very special name. They're called conjugates. Conjugates. These conjugates is actually a Spanish word, not a Spanish word, but relating to Spanish. You conjugate your verbs, right? You change the form from a plus to a minus. That's what they're called conjugates. One's a plus, one's a minus. Same thing here. This is a difference of squares as well. Let's see how that factors. The first one's going to be a plus, a minus. It doesn't matter where the plus or minus is. What times what is a to the 6? It has to be the same thing. A cubed times a cubed. Remember that a cubed times a cubed is equal to a to the 6th. And then minus b to the 6th. Let's do b to the 8th, so that way it's a little bit different. What times what is b to the 8th? Is b to the 4th times b to the 4th. It has to be the same thing. So therefore, these factors have a very special name. They're called conjugates again. Let's look at this one. Let's factor this. One's going to be a plus, one's going to be a minus. What times what is p to the 4th? It's p squared and p squared. What times what is 16? Same thing. It's going to be 4 times 4. It has to be the same numbers. So p squared plus 4, p squared minus 4. Ooh, we don't have what's called the sum of squares, but we do have what's called difference of squares here. So this one always factors again. There's going to be something times something. What are the factors? One's a plus, one's a minus. P times P is P squared. P times P squared. 4, what times what itself is 4. 2 and 2. And drop the P squared plus 4. And that's how it factors completely. So these conjugates distribute to P squared minus 4. And then P squared plus 4. So let's try an application of one of my students. Application of difference of squares. It says that we have a rectangular box, a prism, rectangular prism or box, it doesn't matter, it's something like this, I drew it out for you, for which the volume is a to the 8th minus b to the 8th. What are the dimensions? Well, we know that a to the 8th minus b to the 8th, it does factor, because it's difference of squares. One's a plus, one's a minus. What times itself is a to the 8th? A to the 4th times a to the 4th is a to the 8th. A to the 4th times a to the 4th is a to the 8th. What times itself is b to the 8th? If you want to pause and figure out what that is, that's pretty simple. Pause it if you want, okay? It's going to be b to the 4th and b to the 4th. If we distribute this out, you actually end up with a to the 8th, a to the 4th times a to the 4th is a to the 8th. It's going to be minus a to the 4th, b to the 4th, plus a to the 4th, b to the 4th. So these, the outer and the inners always cancel in conjugates, these special factors. Got it? But we also have another thing. This is also difference of squares. We can factor this. One's a plus, one's a minus. What times itself is a to the 4th? It's going to be a squared and a squared. And then what is b to the fourth. What times itself is b to the fourth, b squared, and b squared. So that's what we have so far. There's also factors, but we don't need that. The reason why we don't want to factor this difference of squares is because we're looking for the dimension of this rectangular box. We're going to drop this factor, a to the fourth plus b to the fourth. So that's your answer. Geometrically, what's going to happen is one's going to be a squared plus b squared. This dimension is going to be a squared minus b squared. And the height is going to be a to the fourth minus plus b to the fourth. You could have replaced this anywhere you wanted, but these are your factors. It's length times width times your height is the volume of this rectangular box. Hope you enjoyed the problem. And if you have any more questions, let me know or put a comment. Thank you.